we had some experts, outside consultants come in and talk to Terreform about what it is that we can do and how to improve our financials. And there was one very grumpy guy. These were all business experts, the finest in the field. They came out of the Harvard Business School. They have a club in New York City. And he goes, Mitch, listen, your ideas of invention, changing the world, everything that you've ever done, and anything that anyone's ever done about changing the world and invention is somewhere down like here. And up here, like way up here, is something called the market. And if you don't understand what market is, if there is one, there's no point to all of those world-changing inventions. So the one thing you need to take away from me is this. And he repeated the word market like 10 times, almost screaming it at me. And it's just, he's right. Like, you have to know what the market is. So yeah, you make the world's greatest urban car. It's a city car. It's amazing. It's omnidirectional, stands up. It has all kinds of, robotic wheels and wireless driving features. And it's just world changing. No one cares. There's no market, zero market. If you've ever watched an episode of Shark Tank, this is my favorite TV show. That lets you know about invention to market.
Right.
So, and that's often the case. It's usually something ridiculous, like a new type of peanut butter is going to sell the most, or a sock that's
that stays on your foot.
That has pictures of unicorns on it. That's going to sell incredibly.
Yeah.
But the guy who came up with the new wind turbine, no one wants that.
It might also be, like you said, like a timing thing.
Yeah.
Like, we actually had this conversation with a designer who designed faucets, like the smallest thing,
Plumbing
right?
faucets.
Plumbing faucets. And it feels like sometimes maybe the innovation is way too ahead of the curve, that the general public isn't really prepared for it or even thinking about it. And it's kind of disappointing and annoying, I'm sure, because like we have this new thing, like we could change faster than we are, and people are not ready for it.
You have to see this documentary called General Magic. There's the most important company in Silicon Valley. It no longer exists. It is the most important moment in American invention in this last century, by far. And they invented a completely fully functional operating smartphone, basically in the late 70s.
What?
And then they started showing people what it is. And people said things like, I don't have email and I don't want it. And then other people going, why would I want all my music in that little box? And other people going like, well, my phone is attached to the wall.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
It wasn't ready yet. And these were the brightest minds out of Apple, Sony, AT&T, Verizon. These were the best people in computing and electronics imaginable. And they had a vision that everyone wanted. And then it took 15 years later, maybe a little bit more, and you had Steve Jobs selling the exact same thing. Yeah. And and that's lucky, by the way, that it was only that amount of time. But they all watched their invention just promoted, and by a totally different company, the same idea. And of course, he did it in a way that was incremental. He, showed it was first the iPod. It was a thing to play your music. Mm-hmm. And then he let the public think like, wouldn't it be great if I could stick my flip phone onto this, and of course he thought that. Yeah. But he had to sort of slowly, like a drug dealer, feed you a little bit, get you addicted, and then build it up. And that's only in telecommunications. That is not architecture. Architecture takes 40 years to change. I mean, it's just you could show someone the most amazing new improvement in, a facade system. It's just not going to change. Yeah. It's phones are a lot quicker to change than architecture. Cars are quicker to change than architecture, but they're still takes a long time. We've had electric cars for, I guess half a century. Well, no, the first car was electric, or at least Edison did one. So it's, it just still hasn't taken hold. Finally, now Tesla has done that, I would say, at scale. So you can make these one of a kind, brilliant, leapfrogging technological changes or fixes. They don't necessarily take hold at scale. So I don't know if I found anything like that in my life that I'm going to do just that. And I guarantee you, if I knew something that was all about market and it was so simple to do, I would immediately go for it. But no one can make that prediction.